Alrighty, folks, welcome back here to the Diagnostic Trading Hour. I'm your host, Darrell Martin, right here on TFNN, TFNN.com. You can listen to us on your mobile phone at TFNN.mobi. Let's check out where the markets are at right now. Get to your lunchtime market wrap-up. We got the S&P, everything screaming on up there at 15 points right now. We got the Russell up 14. Nasdaq's up 29 points with the Dow up 167 in the triple digits there. Looking on over at copper. Copper right now on the metal side up, almost 0.25%. We got gold up, or down actually a little bit, over 0.5%. We have silver up 0.5%. Checking out our energy sector, natural gas is currently up 1%, with oil down nearly 2% on the day. So massive moves in oil and the indices. Going over to the ag markets, we got a $4 move in corn. That actually is a 1% move in corn, and it's currently down $4 on the day. We got soybeans up 5, almost 6 points right now, 6 points on the day. Checking out the currency markets, we have the pound dollar is currently up 33 pips. We got the euro dollar is down 36. We got the dollar CAD down 37, and actually dollar CAD's flat. Euro pound is down 37. We got the dollar franc up 37 pips. We got the US yen up 18. We got the pound yen up 76 pips on the day. The euro yen is currently down 4 pips, and the Aussie yen is up 32. Well, we ought to be seeing some currency markets start to wake up now with things that are going on, developments that are happening. But let's talk about what's going to be happening this week and what you need to have on your news calendar. We got some big things. Some of them are not even tradable events, but they're things that you better be aware of as a trader, so you don't get caught by surprise on them. Okay? So tonight we got the Aussie monetary policy meeting minutes are going to be released. So make sure you have that on your calendar. That's going to come out at 9:30 tonight and should impact the markets. Not really a tradable event so much as just something you need to be, again, highly aware of. 9:30 tonight, Aussie dollar monetary policy meeting minutes. So sort of like, it's like their Fed funds minutes. Okay? So if you're familiar with that, then you sort of cross it over. It's just not as big because it's not the dollar, it's the Aussie. But anyway, so be aware of the monetary policy meeting minutes come out. Even the Fed minutes themselves usually are not massive in and of themselves. Then we're going to go on over, and on Tuesday, we're going to have a variety of trades coming out. And let's see what we got. We're going to have, let's see, current account coming out of the euro. I'm going to see if I can pull anything out of that. I know it's a minor event, but we might have some consistency we can take advantage of. We got a few reports coming out of the pound. So we got CPI, PPI, RPI, core CPI, HPI, and PPI output all coming out of the pound at 4:30. So we're going to look at that one. Then the U.S. is going to have building permits and CPI come out. And a lot of things coming out tomorrow as far as housing goes. But we're going to have housing starts, and we're going to have building permits. So we'll see if we got something there as well. And one thing I definitely put on your list, like I said, we'll dive into that report, the new residential starts. But definitely be aware that it can affect at least copper quite a bit. So whenever there's building permits and housing starts, obviously, copper's being bought to build the houses. So if you are a copper trader, that can have a pretty decent impact on copper. And if you're not, something interesting to watch and demo. Don't live trade it, watch it, demo it, see how it works out. Okay? But it's something you can definitely get into there. All right, so let me get all my reports pulled up for you, and we'll start walking through each one of these step by step and get our plan out for the week. And let's see, what else are we going to have just to get a little sneak peek here? We're going to have some wholesale sales, asset purchase facilities, stuff like that. We'll be able to dive into that. That's not a major trade there. Thursday, we have some PMIs coming out. The big thing that's going to be happening later this week is the Jackson Hole Symposium. Okay? And so day 1 on Thursday, day 2 on Friday, day 3 on Saturday. We're expecting Yellen to be making a speech on Thursday. We're expecting Mario Draghi to be making a speech on Friday. And we'll dig into more detail on that, but this is basically the big financial symposium. So all the big central bankers and finance ministers and academians and the big participants in the financial markets are all going to be there. They're going to be making speeches. The press isn't right there, but they come out, and there's constant leaks of what they're saying and how they're saying it. And this rocked the markets last year when Bernanke was at it. So we're going to see if Yellen does the same thing, and of course Draghi as well. And will there be any specific clues or signals coming out of Yellen's mouth regarding interest rates? That'll be the big thing they'll be watching for. Some people say, don't expect anything. Other people are like, get ready for her to rock the markets. Who knows? But anyways, either way, you need to know it's happening, and that could happen any time. And as we get closer, I'll give you more and more details as I find them out. There's one site I like to watch whenever news is scrolling on out, and it's financial, juice.com. It's just a news website. Just streams a bunch of feeds. But anyways, it goes pretty fast, and I find things out usually before most people do. When something happens, I literally hop right on there, and I can see, basically what's happening, why it's happening. And, the one thing about news that I'll tell you is by the time it shows up here or anywhere else, I was telling some traders about this the other day, by the time it shows up here or anywhere else, it's already on the chart. Okay, and that's very important for you to understand. It's already on the chart. There's no way that you as an individual trader can compete with massive algorithms and hundreds of people on staff or thousands of people on staff or tens of thousands of people on staff worldwide seeking out information to have that in. Okay, that's just like the nanoseconds, the seconds, sometimes the minutes or hours. They're going to have an edge. All that information is built into the chart already. News is not news, it's history. Okay, because you're finding out what happened. Okay? It's not like you're getting live news coverage of what's happening at the moment. Okay? It's history. It's in the chart. You need to watch the chart. The news helps you understand, is the move real? Is it fake? What's driving it? Whenever we saw that, when I did that trade last Friday, we went short oil, and then we took profit, and then it's like minutes later the thing just flew up. And I'm like, what in the world? And then all of a sudden US yen's flying down. And it's like, what is going on? We go, look, okay, well, Ukraine is engaging Russia. Okay, well, that's pretty significant. It's probably not going to bounce back off of that in the next few minutes. Okay? I've looked on it before and seen things that were like small things that came out and stopped and they were over, and that let me know, okay, hey, don't start getting into this position. Be aware of this. But if anything, it's news. A lot of times, news is Monday morning quarterbacking. It's looking back at what happened, yesterday or what happened 10 minutes ago. If you're day trading, it helps you explain the move in the market, but it doesn't help you predict the move in the market. So, at least as far as the news that came out, even when it's streaming through, and I watch this all the time, and it's great, it's helpful, it helps me understand something. I'm like, what just happened, and why did it? That's not normal. I can find out why, but that didn't help me make money on it. So I just want you to be aware of when this kind of news is coming out. It's not like you have to know it and be aware of it and be on top of it. No, that's if you want to sound smart to your friends. Okay? The kind of news you need to figure out how to be aware of is what news is planned that's coming out. What are the expectations on that news? And what is the expected movements that we usually see, okay, whenever a news announcement comes out? A planned news announcement, not a surprise news announcement, like Ukraine invading, but a planned news announcement. What kind of movement do we normally see, and is there a way to take advantage of that average move? So does it maybe stay within a range, or does it just take off? Okay, those are the questions that we're asking, and it doesn't even mean that we're going to get a trade. It means we're going to have a plan for a trade should the opportunity present itself. So when this announcement comes out at this time, and the market usually moves this far, then I can do a trade. A trade on what? Well, I usually use Nadex for these trades because they're options for day traders. And so I can go in and I can do what's called a straddle on the news, meaning I don't care which direction it goes, just that it goes far, which there's not that many trades that really move as far as you'd think on news. Or maybe I do something opposite. I go, you know what? This usually stays in this range. I'm going to do an iron condor. I buy a lower spread. I sell an upper spread over on Nadex. So I look at, those are the two main ways. And then, of course, I look for volume spikes as well, Spike Striker, to see if there's anything that came off of that I can take advantage of. But, you always just want to be, aware of the news, see if there's a trade you can take advantage of, and even if there's not, have a proper expectation, such as this usually doesn't move more than 30 pips. So I could look for a potential reversal trade in 30 pips, or if I'm in a trade, I probably want to start tightening my stops or taking profits if it moves 30 pips, or, on down the list. Or I just want to be aware that the news is about to come out so I don't get nailed, because usually it moves pretty fast, at least, 20, 30, 40 pips within like the 30 minutes or hour after this announcement. I don't know which direction it's going to go. So understand, I'm not directional. I'm not trying to forecast the news and what's going to happen on the news. I'm literally just getting in there and trying to go, is there a way I can take advantage of how the market normally reacts when this happens? That's how I trade the news. It's not trying to predict the news, get in front of the news, have the millisecond servers, that are in there and going in and like, fractions of a second are firing off, on the floor. And, I've tried that stuff before. It really doesn't work that well consistently. All completely automated and everything. The fastest feeds you can get. And still doesn't make a massive, massive difference on a day-to-day basis. This right here, though, helps me. Whether or not I'm able to find a trade, I'm able to at least know what to expect in the market and use that in my trading plan. So if you do want to learn how to trade the news, one of the first steps is hop on over to TFNN, click on the Nadex banner on the right side of the page. Once you get to Nadex.com, then click on Trading, Demo Trading Account. Okay? Fill in that username, first name, last name, phone number, and email address, and click Apply for Demo. All right? So fill in that information, click Apply for Demo, and you'll get an email. You'll be able to log in. You just click the login button, fill in your username, fill in your password. You'll be able to log in right away. Okay? And then you also got open an account for free. This is where you can open a live account. It costs nothing to open a live account. There's a minimum funding requirement, a deposit. That's $100. You can obviously do more than that. If you fund your account with at least $100 or more and place at least one contract, one live trade, no matter what the risk is or more, then you can contact customer service and they'll extend your demo account out for a year versus just being open for a couple weeks. Okay? So that's how you get that demo extended out. And when we come back, we'll start tackling some of this news and see what we got coming up this week that we can specifically take advantage of. Stay right there. All right, folks, we're going back here to the Diagnostic Trading Hour. Okay, so the first thing we're going to is the current account coming out by Europe, and that'll be released tomorrow. So the only thing we have tonight is monetary policy meeting minutes. Just be aware of them, okay? That's pretty much all you get there. And that's pretty much all that's going to happen on minutes because they're not a number expectation. So it's hard to really surprise the market. It's just more of, hints are dropped in there that are different than what were expected. That's when changes, when it really impacts the market. Hopping on over to current account. 4 a.m. on Tuesday. Let me see what we got here. We'll dive into it. And, okay, so with that, looking at the releases that are coming up, we're looking at basically a 4 to 7 a.m. Trade. So where we'd be entering the trade as early as 11 p.m., okay, and exiting it by 7 a.m., okay, meaning the expiration will be 7 a.m., the entry will be 11 p.m., and let's see, we got 7 pips of movement, 8 pips, 17 pips, 12 pips, 14, 9, 7, 8, 7, 11, let's see here, 2 pips of movement. Yeah, so we're going to go for a 20 pip, if we can get it, with bid-ask spreads, everything else, we're going to go for a 20 pip minimum profit on the euro dollar, entering at 11 p.m. for a 7 a.m. expiration on the euro dollar current account. Basically, it's not a big market mover, and the market is usually very, very flat when this announcement comes out. Okay? So 20 pips is our profit goal there, minimum profit at least. It's not what you're going to make, it's what you're going to require out of the spreads for you to get into that trade. Now from there we go into something that moves a little bit more, and that's going to be our pound CPI, PPI, RPI, core CPI, HPI, I mean you name it, it's all listed there. And let's look at the movement on that because it's a little bit bigger, and we'll be looking again at an announcement that comes out at 4:30, so we're probably getting in at 11 p.m. as early as 11, no later than 4. Okay, obviously the earlier the better, you get more premium. So as early as 11, no later than 4, going for a 7 a.m. expiration. And looks like we had 75 pips, 10 pips, 27, 70, It's like about 30, flat, 19, 49, 32, 20, 17. Yeah, that's going to be a really tough one because we're going to have to go for a little bit more just because of how it has moved. But half the time it doesn't move at all. The other half of the time we get, let's see, 1, 2. We got 1, 2 movements over 35 pips. Let's see, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to say this can be a little bit different. We're not going to do a news trade on this. It ranges too much and it breaks out too much. Say half the time the market moves 50 pips, okay, or more. And I'm just trying to look, how fast does it do it? Okay, so if it does that move, like let's see, the first one it did within 5 minutes it made its entire move. The second time it made 35 pips, 35. We moved like 67. Let's see here. The most of the time, looks like I'm just trying to make sure when it makes the move, it makes it really, really fast. One time it took a little time, but it looks like every other time that it made the move, it was pretty fast. So usually, if it's going to make a big move, it'll make it usually within about the first 5 to, I'd say 15, just to give yourself a little leeway, 5 to 15 minutes. If it doesn't make that kind of move, within the first, we'll just say 15 minutes, then we're probably never going to get a move at all. Like we'll probably get less than 20 pips. But we're going to have to chalk this one up to a be aware event and then just put the specific notes down of what to expect on this event. So that way you're not thinking it's a minor event that's not going to have any impact. It can literally, in the first 15 minutes, it can move 50, 60, 70 pips. If it doesn't move that far, it's probably only going to move about 20 pips. Okay? But you just want to be aware of that. That's going to cause a lot of extra volatility on the pound dollar if you are an early aim trader. Okay? But go ahead and put that on there. Obviously, you could definitely do spike strikers on all the news trades, especially one like this. And that's assuming it spikes up and then does a pullback, and you'll probably end up getting like a 10 or 15 minute pullback, I bet, because I bet the 5 minute won't even like fire off. But anyway, so check that out. That gives you a potential trade. When we come back, we'll talk about CPI and new home sales, housing starts, building permits and housing starts, I mean. All right, folks, going back here to the Diagnostic Trading Hour. So we've wrapped up our pound CPI plan. Now let's hop on into the USD CPI plan. We're going to be looking at trading the euro dollar on this. And let me see what we got. Release is going to be coming out at 8:30. We have quite a few releases coming out at once. And on that 8:30 release, let's see here how we can take advantage of it. So we got 14 pips of movement. Then we got 25, 15, like 18, 18, 20. So we moved it to like 30. Let's see, 13. It's a pretty small so far. 8, 5. Got a big one there. We've got one big move, like 60 pips, and that happened pretty quick. So it dropped down about 50 pips in a matter of like 5 minutes. So we got one big mover out of all of them. I would put my take profit at 25 because so many of them being at 20, you want to at least be able to capture something. Hopefully it comes back to less than that. It depends on exactly where you start and where your strike is and all that fun stuff. So we're going to have a $25 minimum take profit, enter the euro dollar 8 a.m. for a 10 a.m. expiration. And looking across, really would not be one I'd want to go through and trade longer days because we have some big moves that happen into the end of the day, it looks like. Yeah, so some of these moves are really big if you held them to 3 o'clock. So we're going to look at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. euro dollar. That's to trade the CPI, the core CPI. And I think we're going to have about the same result there on housing starts and building permits. So I think we're going to lump all them together. I'm just double checking it. But, yeah, the stats across the board are basically the exact same because they come out a lot of times at the same time. But they're about a 20 pip move on euro dollar. So, or less. So, yeah, we're going to go for 20 pip minimum take profit on the building permit, CPI, core CPI, and housing starts. Enter 8 a.m., 10 a.m. expiration, $20 minimum take profit. Iron Condor, buying the lower spread, selling the upper spread. Okay? Let's see, 7:30, you need to be aware that the RBA Governor Stevens, that's their Fed chairman, right? He's going to be making a speech on Tuesday night at 7:30. And that speech is before his House of Representatives. So that's like whenever we have Yellen testifying before Senate or the House. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you do mark that. That could definitely have an impact depending upon what he says, talking about interest rates and printing money and all the other fun stuff. But definitely a big be aware event for 7:30 on the Aussie. That should increase the implied volatility quite a bit as well on those options. But again, coming out at 7:30, RBA Governor Stevens is going to be talking. All right, so that wraps up, or sorry, not Thursday, Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday. All right, so walking on over to Wednesday, there is the expectation that there'll be, okay, for one, make sure you have the asset purchase votes, the official bank rate votes. I have that on your Be Aware list for Wednesday at 4:30 a.m. on the pound dollar. Okay, so they'll be releasing their votes that they placed on the last announcement. However, we don't expect any kind of big change on this, but there is an expectation that there'll be at least one dissenting vote wanting to change the rates now. If that doesn't happen, that would definitely be very, I guess you could say, bearish for the pound dollar, but on the raising the interest rate because they're not increasing the value. If we get if we do get that one dissenting vote, then that's sort of what the market's expecting. I know it says forecast 009, but a lot of the economist reports I've read said they look at least one dissenting vote coming in. Anyways, but so just, and again, be aware, pound dollar, purchase votes coming out. If there is a surprise in there, if that dissent vote is there, is not there, either way, that's people have different expectations. So that is going to impact the pound early in the morning, but not really a news trade, unfortunately. The other ones on the list really are the same thing. Of course, crude oil inventories, you can look at expected ranges, look at Spike Striker, okay? We're going to have the wholesale sales coming out of Canada. Not really, again, a tradable event, but just to be aware of it, 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday. CAD wholesale sales coming out will impact the USD CAD a little bit, but it literally is so minor that we haven't been able to find any kind of pattern, even a flat pattern on it. So just not one that we want to really dive into, okay? But you do want to be aware of it if you're trading the dollar CAD in the morning. 9:45 Wednesday night. The HSBC Flash Manufacturing PMI is coming out. That will usually impact the yen, and it could impact the Aussie as well. Wouldn't even worry about the CV leading index. That'll be coming. I guess you could put that on your Be Aware. Be Aware 8 o'clock CV leading index. But just know it's happening. But it's not. I don't expect anything to happen out of it. So, but the HSBC, be aware of that because we've had some crazy moves happen on some of these Chinese events that have been coming out on the yen and Aussie pairs. So just know that it's there so you're not surprised. Thinking, well, there's no Aussie or yen news. Well, there's China news, and that is impacting those currencies. Hopping on into Thursday. Thursday we have trade balance. We got retail sales, jobless claims, existing home sales, the Philly Fed index, all that coming out. Big thing, of course, we also have natural gas storage. Big thing, Jackson Hole Symposium. So put that on your all-day calendar and expect Yellen to make some sort of comments. The whole theme of the symposium is unemployment. So how to fix unemployment. So we don't expect them to go real all crazy into monetary policy unless they're going to tie it directly into, well, if we change the interest rate, this would negatively or positively impact unemployment. So they don't expect like that big bomb that was dropped like by Bernanke. I guess it was not 1 year ago, it was 2 years ago, when he dropped his big speech and it just rocked the whole markets. But nevertheless, that is coming out. And then I was trying to see, was there one other thing yesterday? No, just that right there. Okay. So, but anyway, so it's, we do expect something to come out. We don't expect it to be massive, but you want to, be ready and be watching and don't be real lazy on those days, okay? Because you never know what might just come out of somebody's mouth when all these big financial gurus are getting together, okay, of the world's markets. All right. So what do we got that we can do? We got trade balance. We have retail sales. We got the jobless claims, existing home sales, and Philly Fed. Let's see, trade balance. That last came out on, July 22nd there. Let me look at our new trading plan. See what we put together. Okay, well, we don't have anything on that one. What about, go back one more. and then I'll look at the current ones. Okay, so nothing on it. Back that out. And okay, so on the trade balance report, we have movements of, so looking at dollar franc on this, okay? So it's the release that comes out at 2 a.m. And so what we're really looking for is a potential, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. trade. And it looks like we got a move of 28, 17, 17, like 3, 38. Let's see, 14, 8, 5, 25. Let's see, about 35, 6. So I would go for just averaging on that. I know a few of these may lose $5, but it'd be easy to get filled. We're going to go for 30 pip minimum take profit so that we can get like these 7 pip ones and 8 pip ones. Okay? So $30 minimum take profit, entering at 11 p.m. for a 7 a.m. expiration on the dollar franc. Okay? And that's trading the 2 a.m. trade balance report. So $30 minimum take profit, iron condor, entering at 11 p.m. for 7 a.m. expiration for the 2 a.m. trade balance report that comes out on Thursday. So, of course, you're entering on Wednesday night. But for the report that comes out on Thursday at 2 a.m. All right, that takes care of the dollar franc trade balance. Hopping on into the retail sells. You probably want to have just be aware, but 3, 330, and 4. You're going to have a lot of PMIs coming out. So you got the Euro, the German, and the French. So French comes out at 3, the German comes out at 330, and the European in general flash manufacturing PMIs all come out 3:30, 4 a.m. on Thursday. Obviously, that can have an impact on the euro. We don't trade those reports directly, but you want to have them at least on your list as potential market movers. Okay? And now we'll dive into the UK retail sales. The last couple years, it's actually had a pretty big move. Let's see what it's done over the last 12 months and see if that holds to be true. If it does, then we might have ourselves a nice trade. But my guess is that a lot of the markets have died off over the last year. So I've had to go and looking at the last 12 months versus the last 24 months because we had such highly inflated moves on news last year. And a lot of that's balanced out now, like really calmed down. Okay, 25 pips. Let's see, we got 14, 11. There we go. We got a big mover on that one. It looks like 50, 45. And let's see, taking that out to 7, we got 11, 28, 18, 35, 45. A lot of 35s and 45s going on. I'm not really a big fan of that. And then with all these PMIs coming out at the same time, we got a 10-year bond auction being released. I'm going to make this one a little bit wider than normal. We're going to go out and, again, I won't be surprised if we don't get filled on it, but I just want to make it wider just in case it is a bit of a crazier move. And I'm going to go for 40 pips minimum profit. And that's entering at 11 p.m. for a 7 a.m. expiration on the pound dollar. And that's because with all the different manufacturing PMI coming out of Europe and then the retail sales, I think that could cause some definite volatility. So we're going to go ahead and also with the 10-year bond auction coming out of the pound. And that's tentative. Let's see, what are the expected release times? And if it says tentative, the way you look it up is you just look at the past movements there. So we got 5:30, 5:30, 5:30, 5:30, 6:30. That's time change. So probably about 5:30, 6:30. So still between our 11 to 7. See, I'd definitely say I'd want at least that minimum $40 iron condor profit on there, or I just don't want to take the trade for the pound on Thursday night for 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Okay? And we'll even look at that as we get closer. So there'll be see what's happening with Yellen and her talking. Draghi's supposed to come out sometime Friday. That's going to add some implied volatility to everything as well. So we'll see how that one goes as we get closer. But right now, that is the point on the pound for Thursday. That brings us into the morning with a lot of home sales reports. Building permits, new home, existing home sales, all that coming out this week. Jobless claims, sort of same thing we do every week on that one. I'm going to be looking for spike. All these, by the way, I always look for spike strikers on. Okay, and then going into jobless claims. You just want to always have that one on your list as a potential trade. And let's see here. So if you don't have that on your list, add weekly jobless claims on Thursdays. Okay, every Thursday at 8:30. And always be looking for spike strikers off of it. And usually it's a pretty small mover. Okay, so we're gonna have the euro dollar. I mean, we're talking a 25 pip. Usually is more than sufficient. I mean, I don't know if you're gonna get that much, but I mean, you'll get 25, you'll get 30, you'll get a lot of 7s and 8s. So 25 is more just really that's as far as we expect it to move. It's a safety number. So see if you can get 25 pips. And I'm working on a formula on how to even make these things tighter. But for right now, that would definitely lock in a profit for you if you could pull that off. So let's go for 25 pips minimum profit on the Iron Condor Euro Dollar Enter at 8 for 10 a.m. expiration. That'll cover our unemployment claims. And again, that's an every Thursday trade, so it should always be there. And or looking for spike strikers. Okay. Then going into, we have some 9:45 and 10 a.m. trades. And we're going to have existing home sales. We're going to have flash manufacturing PMI. Wouldn't really be worried about that. So more of the existing home sales, the Philly Fed. And what else? That's pretty much it. Okay, so existing home sales, Philly Fed. Let's see what we got on that. Looking at the euro dollar. We're going to be looking at, I guess, an 11 a.m. We can look at 11 or 12. Expiration. We're talking about 1 pip, 3 pips, 2 pips. 9. I mean, it could not be more flat. Let's see. What like 11, 3, 8. Let's see. One big one. We had one massive move. Existing home sales were way worse than expected. That was back in November of last year. And beyond that one, that one you would have dropped down, just got out of the trade. But beyond that one, the rest of them just stayed within a 20 pip range. And many of them much less, like 1 pip, 2 pip, 3 pips. So we're going to go for a 20 pips 9 to 11 euro dollar. But we are doing an Iron Condor on this. It is Jackson Hole, so just make sure you're keeping your finger on the button and ready to hop out on that. Just knowing that there could be some random news announcements coming out. But 9 to 11, 20 pips on existing home sales. Let me see if the Philly Fed lines up for us on that as well. That'll make the same trade. And I'll let you know when we get back right after this break. All right, folks, going back here to the Diagnostic Trading Hour. So wrapping up these trades here, we're looking now at the we got the existing home, we got the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, put all that together in that one trade for the 8 to 10 a.m. 25 pip trade there. Let's go ahead and move on down to Friday. Okay, Friday, what do we got on our list? Looks like we got some Canada trades going on. And we got core CPI, core retail sales, CPI, retail sales. Yellen actually looks like she is, looks like they put it on the schedule already. Okay, she's going to be speaking. So let's update our news plan. Make sure that we do have Fedman Chair Yellen is speaking at 10 a.m. Draghi is speaking at 2:30. So they've announced some times. They got them up there. So 10 a.m. Fed Yellen speaking, and 2:30 Draghi is talking, and this is going to be at the Symposium. So you're going to want to definitely know that that's happening, okay? Just have that on your calendar. All right, well, before that comes out, we got retail sales and we got CPI over on the CAD. And so what kind of movements can we look at going into a 10 a.m. expiration? We got 17, 40, let's see, 6, 18, 10, 35, 24, 28. Looks like this one's just balanced enough that it's going to make it really hard to trade. I'm going to check the retail sales, see if we get the same thing. And let's see, you're on retail sales for 10 a.m. trades. We got 17, 50, 10, 35, 25, 28, 18, let's see, 10. There's a lot of 25s and 35s in there. I'm going to pass on this dollar CAD trade. What I would do is I'd put on it, make it a be aware of it, and I'd say expect about 25 to 30 pips of movement on the trade. So I mean, I guess if you could pull off a 35 pip iron condor, you could do it, but I mean, I even see some that are quite a bit more than that, so I'm going to stand aside on that one. But expect, up to about 35 pips of movement on the dollar CAD for the core CPI, CPI, and retail sales reports coming out of Canada, 8:30 on Monday. Friday. 8:30 on Friday, August 22nd. Saturday, Jacksonville Symposium still coming out, so that could lead to some movement, depending upon what comes out of that in the markets over the weekend. So be careful on holding any positions into the weekend. Could have some big moves on Sunday, Monday, depending upon what it is you're trading. And then Monday, Britain is going to have a bank holiday. So they have their summer bank holiday. So that'll be coming out on Monday. And then we'll have some new home sales and stuff that we'll check out. Let's see, going into the following week, not a whole lot it looks like happening here in the U.S. And looks like some stuff will start picking up, but nothing major the following week as the market gets ready for the Labor Day weekend, week after next here. That's where things will start picking up, is after that. That's when everybody starts getting back and we start getting interest rate announcements and everything else. It'll be a big launch week. We're going to have NFP. We're going to have a lot of announcements coming out right after the Labor Day weekend. So next week looking pretty quiet. A lot of people do go on vacation that week out there in Wall Street and Chicago and all that. So, both in New York and Illinois there. So you just want to make sure that you're aware of that. But that is your news wrap for the week. Hope we got the plan down. Make sure to check out the archive. You need to go back and check it. And I hope you have a great day. And I'll see you tomorrow right here on the Diagnostic Trading Hour. Stay tuned for another great show after this.